Firehouse Subs is already a sizable chain of restaurants. I'm guessing that most people watching this have at least heard of them, considering you can now find them in almost every state. They have around 1,200 locations, making them the 5th largest sandwich chain in the country, but I have good reason to believe that they are going to be quickly moving up that list. Just look at what they've been doing. They've established a sturdy model, a positive image, and a system that's been growing at an incredible rate. Their revenue is expected to exceed $1 billion for the first time ever in 2021, which is pretty much double what it was in 2014. I wouldn't be surprised if you're watching this in the year 2030 and Firehouse Subs has become one of those household names. A big reason I'm saying that, and my main motivation for making this video right now, is the fact that in November of 2021, Firehouse Subs has been bought by Restaurant Brands International for $1 billion, and I think this is big news. See, Restaurant Brands International is already the owner of all of these major fast food chains and has been successful in building some of the brands and expanding them internationally, which happen to be 2 major goals for Firehouse Subs. In 2015, they opened their first one in Canada and then Mexico, and have identified the international market as having high potential. So when the chief executive of Restaurant Brands International says, "We see tremendous potential to accelerate US and international growth at Firehouse Subs," I take that to mean big things are going to happen. It's essentially taking the solid foundation that's been cemented by Firehouse Subs already and pairing it with a giant company that has the resources and experiences to build upon it and take things to that next level. Potentially exciting times, so I figured that this would be the perfect opportunity to take a look back at Firehouse Subs while highlighting some of the major reasons behind their success. I mean, you've never been to another place like this, and maybe the biggest thing that stands out about them is their firefighting theme. Now, personally, I can appreciate any theme at a restaurant. Long John Silver's comes to mind, but it's especially effective when it's so positive and genuine like this. The restaurant was started by 2 brothers named Chris and Robin Sorensen. Their father was a fireman for 43 years, and they themselves have spent time in the profession. But their father, Captain Robin Sorensen, was actually a huge influence in all of it. In addition to his career in firefighting, he spent decades operating a small TV shop in their hometown of Jacksonville, Florida. It was a family business, so his sons worked there from a young age, selling and delivering and installing television sets. They say that that is where they learned how to run a business, and likely where they got the ambition to do it themselves. In the early 1990s, much like their father, they wanted to start a business in addition to their firefighting responsibilities. During that time, they attempted so many different things that just didn't work out. Real estate, house painting, even something that they called a Kris Kringle Tree Company. Looking back at it, even they've admitted that a Christmas tree farm may not have been the smartest idea in Florida, but after it failed, they kept pushing forward. Now, by this point, Robin had already quit firefighting to pursue his passion of working in food service. He became the manager of a restaurant, and after some time there, he felt that he had learned enough to join his brother in starting their own, hopefully, successful restaurant. They figured that submarine sandwiches would be a smart direction, partially because it required a low capital investment, since there wasn't much equipment involved in making them, but also because they were recently becoming more popular. Subway, specifically, more than doubled in locations in the first half of the 1990s, so Chris and Robin felt that there was a strong market for them. At first, their plan was to open a franchise of a different local chain called Larry's Giant Subs, but after speaking with them about it, they felt that they'd be better off on their own. Evidently, it was literally in the parking lot, walking out of that meeting, where they had the idea to start their own restaurant with a very logical firehouse theme. So today, if you go into a Firehouse Subs, you will see it everywhere you look. The tables and the chairs and the counters are all painted red and white. You'll probably see a brick wall somewhere, along with some themed decorations, like a jacket or a helmet or something like that. I think it's a great touch how all of the tabletops have a Dalmatian pattern on them. Pretty much everywhere you could possibly cram in something firefighting related, they do it. It's even in the names of the sandwiches. They sell the engineer and the firehouse hero, but maybe the most popular one, and the one that Chris Sorensen says is his personal favorite, is the one with turkey, ham, and cheese that they call the Hook and Ladder. In 2005, they even started a nonprofit called Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation, with the intention of helping first responders by providing them with equipment and other necessary resources. It's something that they're obviously passionate about, and to date, their $62 million raised toward the cause has helped many people and given them a positive public image. For the next reason behind their success, I'm gonna call it unique food. I've already showed you how everything is named much different from everywhere else, but the sandwiches themselves are different as well. From the very beginning, they felt that they could separate themselves from Subway and most of the others by emphasizing hot sandwiches rather than cold, of course. And to take it even a step further, they are heated with steam rather than a typical microwave. It gives them a different taste and a bit of a gimmick that they could advertise. They say that it makes the buns moist while bringing out the flavor in the meats and cheeses, and who could dislike that? They also have a history of seeking out higher quality ingredients and serving bigger portions.
We built Firehouse Subs on quality and quantity.
And I'm the quality.
Why am I quantity?
Are you kidding?
Both of those things are more expensive, so they've been willing to sacrifice either price or profits to do it. I should also mention their popular hot sauce, Captain Sorensen's, named after their father. All of these efforts combine to make sandwiches that are constructed, cooked, and labeled differently than any of the others out there. My next reason is a little general, but I have to express that a top priority for Firehouse Subs is the customer's experience. And we've already seen this with the first two reasons. Obviously the theme and the food are big parts of it, but there is more. They do have a bit of a reputation for being one of the cleaner, friendlier restaurants. Now, a lot of that is subjective and hard to measure, but they do put a lot of effort toward it and are typically seen that way by the public. Let me know if you disagree and think otherwise. In addition, they strive to create this local feeling. Some other places I've talked about, like Applebee's and Trader Joe's, have also had success in doing this. For Firehouse Subs, they do it primarily through the building itself. They all have different designs that includes a customized, hand-painted, firefighter-themed mural. I think it's in all of them. They have these detailed murals that depict something local to the area. It makes every restaurant different from the others and makes the customers feel like they're eating at a local business with its own personal identity rather than a standardized national chain. There is more that I can talk about here. Let me know anything else you find about your experience with them to be positive or special, but the bottom line is that if you have a good experience, you're probably going to come back and maybe even tell someone else about it. My next reason behind their success is reinvesting. I think most would agree that one of the smartest decisions that a company can make when looking at long-term growth would be to reinvest their profits back into the business. And Firehouse Subs has been more disciplined in doing this than any other business that I think I've ever seen. This is a company that started with as little as you can imagine. Chris and Robin have said that they had less than $100 in their bank account at the time and relied on $30,000 in loans from their family to get things running, and the majority of that $30,000 was charged to Robin's mother-in-law's credit card. I can't say I recommend funding a new business with a credit card, but in this instance, it obviously worked. Almost the entire staff initially were family members working for free. They partnered up with an accounting and finance professional named Stephen Juice that they had known, who was working in exchange for a small percentage of equity. For heaven's sake, during the first 4 years of Firehouse Subs, Robin was paid a salary of something like $15,000 a year, just the lowest amount that he needed to survive, and Chris wasn't paid anything because he was still supported by his job as a firefighter. Everything was sacrificed and reinvested into the business. Thankfully, they had all of these effective ways to attract customers so that credit card interest never spiraled out of control. In 2001, they became completely debt-free, and it wasn't until 10 full years of business and over 100 locations when they finally started extracting some of their profits. Robin Sorensen himself credits this with being one of the biggest reasons behind their success. He said, "Ultimately, our frugality and discipline with money is one of the main reasons we are still here. It was critical to our survival." So right there is a great example of how investing in your future and believing in what you're doing could have a huge payoff. The final reason I have on my list is franchising, typically one of the biggest reasons behind the success or failure of any restaurant, and in this case, they did it right. And this is basically when other people started paying the Sorensens to open their own Firehouse Subs locations. They first tried doing it in 1996 with 3 locations, but quickly acquired them and worked out an equity sharing agreement for those managers instead. I think they felt that they were losing too much control and wanted to hold off until they were more established and had a stronger system in place. Their next attempt was in 2002. They already had over 30 locations and were sure to do it carefully. They personally interviewed all of the potential franchisees, only allowed them to open 1 restaurant at a time, and slowly started opening them further and further away from Florida, starting in Georgia and steadily making their way north and west. Also, I'll say that 2002 was a great time for this, because people, more so than before, were really looking to support firefighters. Coming off of the 9/11 disaster with all of those heroic pictures of firemen, not to say it had a huge impact, but it was a time when that theme was especially helpful. Now, this has been a private company up until this point, so a lot of the figures aren't widely available, but I did my best to compile a graph from different sources showing their number of locations each year. I think it's enough to see an overall trend, and it shows that their decision to start franchising in 2002 is really what got things moving. Today, 97% of them are franchised, and considering that they've generally maintained their quality and cleanliness and everything else that you'd potentially lose in the process, I'd say that they've done it effectively. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about Firehouse Subs, and how they compare to all of the other sandwich chains? Do you find them to be better or worse overall? Do you like the theme, or maybe you find it tiring? And if you haven't been there before, just be patient. Obviously anything can happen, but it's looking like there may be a lot more of them coming soon. So if a new one does happen to open in your area, maybe come back to the video, see it from a different perspective, and then tell me what you think. Also, let me know if you agree with these being the main factors behind their success, or do you think there's more to it? And anything else you have to say about Firehouse Subs, leave it in the comments. I'd like to hear what you have to say.
Our way beats their way. If you don't agree,
It's free.
on him.
It's on him.
Thank you for watching.